good morning, and welcome to the Brenda Perryman Show right here on TV 33, WHPR, Comcast 90 in Detroit. Sometimes in Detroit. Comcast 91 in Detroit, 24 hours a day. Comcast 90 in Oakland and Livingston counties, and all over the world, courtesy of the World Wide Web. And I have a great show for you today, a beautiful, beautiful show for you. I'd like to first introduce my first guest, and my guest is Mr. Kevin Parker. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you?
Just fine.
And we have friend of the show, Mr. Richard Welch.
Good morning.
Good morning, who introduced me to Mr. Parker. And Mr. Parker has a great story, and he is a successful man. But, you know, you just don't become successful just like that. You got to work towards it. Isn't that
Very true.
very, very true? Well, let's get some background on Mr. Parker, okay? You were born here
Born here and raised in Alabama.
in Alabama.
Yes.
Wow, that's different. So, what part?
Tuscaloosa.
Oh no, we may be cousins. Honest, that's where my family's from.
Okay.
Tuscaloosa.
And
That's
that's
where I'm from.
Oh my goodness.
we're getting
Where'd
smaller.
did you go to school? Your whole elementary and
Most of it in Alabama, but I came back here to use my scholarship for Michigan State University, and so I was here for a residency to use my scholarship, and then I've been ever since.
oh, so you went to Michigan State.
Oh yes.
So are you a follower, a big follower?
Yes, I'm a big
He's a
fan.
Okay,
Spartan.
they got a big game tomorrow.
And we will win against Ohio State.
I think so.
Oh goodness, I don't know. I don't
I
know.
hope so.
Well, my grandson, who's 9 years old, that is his favorite team, is Michigan State. Everybody else in the family's Michigan, but Michigan State.
okay.
That's okay. So, what did you major in school?
I started out majoring in pre-med,
Wow.
of all things. And then I transitioned over into business because I got better grades. And so I became an accountant.
That's very frank. That's very, very frank. So, you became an accountant. Is that how did you meet Ricky?
Oh, wow. I can't
I
remember.
don't know.
Maybe it's one of those things like I have with one of my friends. I don't even know where I met her. We've been friends a long time, but I don't remember the first
he and I
time.
over 30 years. I know over 30
For
years.
over 30 years I've known
Yeah.
Kevin. We've had a respect between us, and I don't know. We were trying to pinpoint it in the room there. We don't know when. but it
Okay, but
happened.
you're both businessmen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Both businessmen. And really, that's something to kind of applaud you about, because venturing out, being in business, you become an entrepreneur eventually, don't you?
Correct.
Did you start off working for someone?
Yes. When I left undergrad, I worked at General Motors, Detroit Diesel.
Okay.
And I was there for a while and realized, less than a year's period of time, that I wasn't designed to work 9 to 5. I couldn't take orders that well.
You couldn't take orders that well?
No, it
You had to
wasn't-
be your own boss?
I had to be my own boss. Like the hours that I would work, 9 to 5 didn't do it for me. 12, 13, 14 hours was my speed. Even now, same thing.
12 to 14-hour days?
Yeah, days, yeah.
Wow. That's remarkable.
Yeah.
How many days a week?
Typically 6 days a week.
Oh, well, that's good. Well, you're young yet. You're young yet.
Yeah.
You're young
The,
yet.
the key thing, though, is liking what you do, and what I do is never a dull moment. I enjoy fixing companies, buying companies, turning around companies. That's what we do for the last umpteen years, and that's what I enjoy doing.
Kevin, I have to ask you a question. Technically, what type of business or businesses do you have? Let's hear it. 'Cause
Yeah, what type
I've
of
known him for
businesses?
years. I've known him to have done several things, but I was asked the question, what does Kevin do? I said, I'm going to ask him that on the show.
Well, let me give you a quick background. My background, I was a stockbroker. I'm not sure if you know that or not.
And I didn't
I
know.
was a stockbroker for years, and then I became a money manager. And
Well, with the stockbroking, were you your own boss then? Were you into your
yes,
own? Oh,
yeah.
okay.
As a stockbroker, you're individually driven to make money,
Okay.
and then you get involved in money management. After doing that, I was asked by GM to look outside of being a broker to build other businesses, and I left General Motors with little knowledge about business per se, but with my knowledge of finance and accounting made it easier for me. My very first business was a cut and sew business up in Wausau, Michigan.
A cut and sew?
We cut and sew. We made seats and
That's
airbags.
what I was wondering.
We made seats and airbags, and then that was my very first blunder in life. I lost my shirt on that business.
Really?
Yes, it was at the end of a great experience, but it was a horrible experience, and it taught me a lesson that I learned.
Well,
today.
why don't you tell us about it? Tell us what happened and what you learned.
I bought a business from a gentleman that led me to believe it was a very sound business. After buying it, it wasn't that sound.
First, did you know anything about what they
There you go.
manufactured?
No. A little knowledge is very, what I always say is very dangerous knowledge, a little knowledge. I know I had the money, I had the educational background, but I didn't have the experience.
Right.
And I thought because you had the money and the education, it equals success. Not true. You cannot forsake experience in businesses. So I learned from that. And then I bought a company doing plastic.
Wait, how
Bought
long did you have that first company?
maybe a year before we shut it down completely.
Really?
Yeah.
It just it must have started going downhill right away.
Oh no, it was going downhill before I bought it.
I mean, I'm not laughing,
Oh
but
no,
gee.
no, we do now.
Yeah.
Because my same guys are still with me today, and so we sold everything off, paid all of our bills, and it was for me personally $300,000 loss of education. That was my real MBA. And so from there, I bought a molding company in Grand Rapids.
Yep.
Bought it, turned it around, sold it. Came
Well,
back.
did you know anything about molding?
No, by this time here, I learned that to have quality individuals around me that knew molding. I know business. I don't know particular type businesses, but I know how to do process improvement. I know culture and have common sense. And I know numbers. So from there, I bought a metal stamping company. We bought and sold. And then I bought a trucking company called Phoenix, sold it to Toyota.
Now, did you still have the molding company when you bought the trucking?
No, it was strictly buy and sell, cash out, build up a reserve for our own sales, and go
Oh,
from there.
that's an interesting
Our
strategy.
company has never had a loan from a bank ever.
Oh, wow.
Never.
Now, that's different.
Wow.
You never had a loan from a
No.
bank?
You live within your means.
Thank you.
Wow.
You know, within your
Wow.
means. And I was raised by mentors, to be honest, people like the guy to my left, a few of the gentlemen at General Motors, that you have to always dress and look like the next job you want.
That's right.
Okay.
And so the stockbroker, I couldn't afford it, but I was spending $1,000 for suits that I couldn't afford. But when you go to certain communities in Michigan, you must be able to look the part to get the money. And then as I got older, I went back down to my regular suits, and because I had more money by that point in time.
Yeah.
And then I got involved with GM to really get involved in a minority company to turn them around.
Oh, getting involved in minority companies?
Yes.
Was there any particular strata or type of company you were looking
No,
for?
it was primarily automotive and bakeries.
And bakeries.
And bakeries.
That's like,
Yes, and bakeries.
Complete opposite.
Most of the minority companies, they're getting purchase orders from automotive companies, but your CEOs do not have the background in finance. So when '08 hit,
it hit
it
hard.
hit hard for a lot of companies. And it hit harder for those that didn't understand their numbers. I tell young folks now, The biggest thing you need to do when you wake up in the morning before you go to brush your teeth, know how much cash you have available to spend that day. You don't look at cash once a week or once a month. You can get out of bed and turn your computer on. You should know exactly how much cash you have on hand.
Right then.
Right then.
Right.
The first thing you do in business.
Okay. What's the benefit of that?
The benefit of that is being able to make sure your bills are paid, and if you need to cut staff, you need to cut activities, you do that. Too many minority companies live through their business. Their lifestyle is through their business.
Give us an example of that. I know what you're talking about, but give the audience an example.
Coming up with the We Fix, the guy get a $5 million company from General Motors. First thing, well, sometime what he wants to do is get a Mercedes.
Yes.
And usually if he's married or not married, she just had no idea what's going on. We don't communicate with our spouses to know when there are good times and bad times. So when things start going south, we want to maintain that image of that vehicle while everything else goes down the tubes. So we have to be like our people that we love to talk about, our Caucasian friends, and realize that when money goes down, change the car. Nothing wrong with driving a Pinto.
Right. Well.
Got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
And the viewers probably need to know. Got a question. What are some of the pitfalls that you really fell into along the way? Because we know it's you make it, you don't make it. There are some things that you know.
Well, he told us
Along the
about the
way.
first one.
Yeah.
So when you started buying up these companies,
Yeah.
did you have more pitfalls?
Yes. Did you have more pitfalls?
And why?
The main pitfalls you run into, in my opinion, in companies, is that you have to understand the product you're involved with, understand the financials of that product you're involved with, understand the management team you're involved with. Everything else can be handled.
Okay.
Do
In
you
that culture.
do you believe in keeping the same team of people?
Good question. As a small company growing to a middle market company, to a large cap market, those that start with you aren't all the same ones that end up with you.
Right.
And you must know the difference. A lot of companies start with mother and father and cousin and uncle there, did a great job to get started. But when you hit a certain plateau, it might be the same ones and take to the next level. You must be prepared to say, Jack and Jill and John, we got to part ways.
Right. I heard Magic Johnson say something once. He said that he pays his family to stay away from his businesses. I mean, that's what he said.
That is so smart.
Yeah, he said he pays them to stay away,
That is so
because sometimes, we want our people involved, but those people are not always the best people, and the subject, there's no objectivity there.
True. I love my family. Now that I have crested the hill, you would say, going down the hill, I'm now looking at getting my family more involved in my activities. Right now, my main focus is logistics. We have a large trucking company, and we also have what we call asset-based lending, known as ABL.
Asset-based lending, what is that? Please explain.
Asset-based lending, and basically, if you have an asset, you have a truck, for example,
Yes.
and Kevin, I need $2,000 on that truck. I'll take your truck and give you $2,000 as a loan, if you will. You pay me back weekly, monthly, quarterly. Or you have a company doing automotive business, and you're receiving invoices every week, and you're running short of cash. I'll take your invoice, give you 80% of that money back to you, so you have ready cash to run your business. I like asset-based lending because you don't lose money.
Oh, that's interesting.
But understand though, it's not designed for everyone. There's a higher interest rate to be involved in asset-based
Yeah, that's what I
lending.
was thinking.
Okay.
It's not loan sharking.
No, it's not. It's not usury laws just yet.
No.
But it allows those that understand their business to get cash, understand your timeline to pay that cash back and move ahead.
Okay. Do you find that that's beneficial for these companies? Have they found it?
For certain industries, trucking, some retail, service companies, they need that cash right now.
Remember those cash
Employment
flow
agencies,
problems.
yeah.
Cash flow problems.
Exactly.
People have those problems.
And we're there to fit that market. But if you qualify for a bank loan, it's easier, cheaper to go that route.
Oh, okay.
I'm for the person that have good credit but need cash now.
Okay. Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. So, people and their money, sometimes they're soon parted if you don't do the right thing and think the right ways. And everybody doesn't have a finance person at their side. What would you advise them to do?
Call SBA.
The Small Business Loan?
Pure and simple.
Small
Call-
Business Association?
Call SBA. People don't realize SBA and a group called SCORE, SCORE. SCORE is a group of guys that retired in business that are volunteers. And SBA is underutilized in this country. It's a wealth of knowledge, how to find money, how to build a business, how to find customers. One simple thing, use SBA.
Wow. When did you know that you're going in the direction where you plan to go or you want to go? When did you first have that epiphany?
People that know me will smile when I make this comment. I'm 60 years old, and I have no idea what I want to be when I grow up. Wherever the Lord leads me to go to, I've owned nursing homes, adult foster care homes. I ran bakeries
Gee.
across the board.
You were in nursing homes?
Yes, my family has nursing homes, adult foster care homes.
Wow.
So again, I have no idea what I want to be when I grow up, and I listen to myself.
Oh, that's, talk about that. Talk about why that's important.
If you're constantly running around not being still, you can't hear yourself think. And you have to have a good relationship with God, number one.
Yes.
If you have that one-on-one correspondence, like I always say, JC, everything will be okay. He's going to let you know where to go and where not to go. But when you intervene with his decision-making, you're going to go the wrong way. But then, with the grace of God, he'll allow you to be still and listen to get back on track.
And that's good. Have you ever had to drop back and punt?
Oh, yeah. Yesterday. No one's infallible.
Right.
We're still human beings. We're still growing. I reevaluate things constantly.
Okay, so you're 60. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, that big 65?
My loved one will say that I have slowed down some, but I know myself and my energy level. Pedal to the metal. What I do is not so much a physical activity; it's more of a mental activity, and I enjoy doing what I do. Do I always make money? No. Do I have some losers? Yes. I have more losers than I have winners, but I stay in the game. And when I do win, it's a good.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because some people, when they lose, they get scared, too scared to get back out there and try again. But failure is a part of learning. And like you said,
It's a
you've
good thing.
learned
You
more
profit from it.
being out there and with the experience than the MBA.
It's a good thing.
Well,
Trial
I
and
think
error.
so, yeah, because,
Trial and error.
you know, Ricky, you
Yeah.
know, as a teacher, we had to student teach. I mean, we had all these education classes. Those classes don't tell you anything about what you experience when you get in that real classroom. But
One thing you mentioned a little while ago about some of the pitfalls. When an entrepreneur knows he or she is ready for business, it's when you can get up in the morning and go to work and wash the toilets. When you can go in there and make the coffee,
Right.
right.
sweep the floors. When you can do all these things and your mentally is still intact, you're ready for business. And you can't go in with one foot in and one foot out.
Right.
You have to be committed to that position. But I want to say one thing important too for young minorities that are getting looking at in business is understand your product. If you have a job, hold that job because you must pay your bills.
Yes.
Now, if you got a rich uncle and a rich cousin, a rich mother and a father, sure, you can jump all the way in. But make sure you have cash enough to cover yourself for 12 months. Anything that can go wrong typically will. And then cash in your account will take care of yourself for that first year. If you persevere in the right way, at the end of that year, you can see the light come on.
Now, do you have children?
I have 2 play children. I have 2 nephews of mine.
Oh, play children.
Yes.
Okay. Are they in business? Do you give them advice or
These guys are diabolically different.
diabolically?
Diabolically different. The oldest one is an entrepreneur, go-getter, wants to be in the music industry with his friends. The other one, in my opinion, is a playboy. You know,
Really?
8-year undergrad.
8 years?
8-year undergrad.
That reminds me of someone
Professional
we went to college with, Ricky.
I
Who,
think some people might be still up there.
no,
Brenda.
this particular person, and it's one of your frat brothers,
Uh-oh.
went to register, and they said, "Mr. So and So, you've graduated."
No.
Right? He was just. He didn't even realize he had graduated. He just was enjoying life.
But other thing too about far as business is, make sure you do your homework. It's no big deal in your garage or out of your bedroom.
Right.
You don't have to go out there and spend extra money to get a lavish office someplace. You know, start small and go from there. There's no shame. If you're a true entrepreneur, that wouldn't bother you in the first place. You focus on what you want to do in life,
Right.
not on the lavishness of an office or a vehicle. Who's the thing you go after?
You know, Kevin, I tell you, speaking of that, being from Grand Rapids, I remember when Amway, the divorces,
Right.
they started really, when they say in the garage, they did. That building in Ada, out there on Fulton, me and my dad and my brother used to fish right there next to the building. We'd be fishing at night and they'd be in there working. So technically, that's where they started. Amway. My keynote speaker at my high school graduation was Richard DeVos.
Okay.
I can remember very well. If anything I said, and listen to every word he said that day. Because if anyone was successful at that juncture in Grand Rapids, it was DeVos.
Well, wow. A lot of people just start real small, wear the same suit and so forth. I remember Mel Farr's wife told me, this was years ago, that, you know, when he was going to those classes to learn about car dealerships, you know, he was losing so much weight, she'd sew the inside of the suit, back of the suit, so it'd still look a little tailored and things like that. Just the, you know, sacrificing that goes, because a lot of times you can't get that new suit.
True.
But it's unfortunate that a lot of people believe once they've started a business, they got to be the sharpest dresser out there, they got to get the baddest car out there, and that's a big mistake. You know, you got to move quietly sometimes.
Stay in your zone. Stay in
True.
your zone.
Live within your means.
Stay within your
True
means.
thing you said earlier, live
Yeah.
within your means. Your
Wow.
means.
Well, what about, I'm going to ask you this, people who have retired, but they still have the vitality, and in some jobs you can retire relatively young, you know, 60, 58. I know people who've retired and they're just been someplace 30 years and they're 54 years old. So they want to get into something else. They just don't want to sit. What would you advise them to do?
Follow your passion. Pure and simple. I have a girlfriend who's my hairstylist. She was a corporate engineer. Decided that she wanted to be a hairstylist. And doing for over 30 years right now. You got to follow your passion.
Right.
I have looked for other things for my passion.
What is your passion?
Hopefully everyone watching this program or that I know are in bed. Work. I'm passionate about work. I take very few vacations. Very few things. I splurge on food and clothing.
You know, it's interesting that you said that because this week somebody asked me just last night on the phone, so what do you love to do? Because I said, I got to do something. And I said, I love working. And that worried me. I said, I shouldn't do that, but I love the things I do.
True.
And I just thought, I said, I will not repeat that to anybody. And here you come out saying that this morning.
Mm-hmm. I'm passionate about work. Yeah.
So you said you still didn't know what you wanted to do. I asked you 5 years from now where you see yourself. And you have no idea?
No idea. I have no idea what's going to come along. Whatever comes up, pray about it, makes sense, I'll check it out.
Wow, that's really, really interesting. So now, what kind of businesses do you have right now?
We have really consolidated some right now. Primarily, we're doing logistics.
The trucking.
A lot of trucking.
Trucking.
Some rail. We're doing a lot of asset-based lending. We have our own equity fund that we funded. And we're working with other companies right now in terms of pallets, small aluminum pallets for Frito-Lay and Pepsi.
Oh. Pallets, are those the things they put the...
Not the big one that you put a forklift into. These are the called flat pallets.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing that.
Wow.
So...
You know, it's funny. The things he does, no people, they're things. You do things. Unfortunately, I do people, so...
But see, you'd be surprised, and we were talking about this a few days ago, you'd be surprised of the things people do to make money.
That's right.
And thrive at making money.
Yeah.
You know, we were just laughing. The person that owned the color blue are multimillionaires. They only own one color.
They own the
They
color.
only have the patent on the color blue.
You're kidding.
Yes.
There are people who have a patent on...
No, on colors, yes.
Like blue.
Yes. Yeah. Small things. People that own needles, that sell needles. You wouldn't think about it. You know, we're one company right now. They make retread tires, and I was stunned the kind of money they make doing retread tires for tractor trailers.
You can retread them?
Yeah, there's a machine that retreads them, and we were there now trying to finance the guy for some additional equipment.
Yes.
So you'd be surprised what
This
people
is
do
amazing.
to make a living.
So Kevin, let me ask you a question. So obviously, people often look past the obvious. It's right in front of their face.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine out of Chicago, I said, since you retired, what are you doing? He said, cardboard. I said, cardboard? That's how you make money in cardboard. He said, everything that you ship or you get in comes in what?
That's right.
He said, a box. He said, someone had to make that box. My friend out of Chicago is very successful in corrugated box. And in my wildest dreams, cardboard?
Yeah.
He is he's more successful in retirement than he ever was working. That's right.
I got one better for you. There's a young lady, Hispanic young lady. She's a college student. Her income, she worked with this company that makes these coasters.
Okay.
And you call in ahead of time and say, I want a coaster with a lion on it or a cat on it. She makes 1,100 coasters a week. Sells them on eBay and Facebook. She averages $2,000 a month doing that. That's her income every month for going there, spending 3 or 4 hours to make coasters, to sell them, and go to school at Wayne State University.
And that's something.
Oh, it's local? She's local?
She lives in. She goes. The facility is in Ferndale, Michigan,
Right.
and she goes to school at Wayne State. Goes there once a week.
And that's
Make
something.
your little coasters, stick them on whatever you do, Facebook, Twitter, or whatever you put them on, and she sells them, and the average is $2,000 a month just doing that.
Wow. Imagine if she really worked a long time.
That's correct.
Right, right.
correct.
Well, any other questions, Rick? This has been
It's hard to even.
it's been
so
amazing.
much.
It's really been amazing.
All I'll say is that really Kevin has impressed me ever since I've known him. He always talks to me about things. He makes you think. That's what he does.
Well, he's made me think.
No, I know he has.
I'm
I've
trying
seen
to
her
think of
watching.
what I can make.
Kevin makes you think.
I know how to sew. No, anyway, I think I'm going to stay up this alley. This is
Yeah.
my bag. Kevin, thank you
so
so
very
much.
welcome.
This is such a pleasure.
You're very welcome.
And think about the things he said, everybody, because anybody can do it.
That's right.
That's correct.
He's living
Anyone.
proof. My
That's it.
man, you know it.
My brother.
We'll be
You
back
know you
in
must
just
have
a moment with Tiffany. And then after that segment, we have Table Talk, and we have a great Table Talk for you today.